Well, what I've been talking about today is making the image more like the centerpiece of a task. Rather than it being secondary to text, very often in the materials that we use in the English language classroom, we prioritize the text and language over the image. And then in some ways you think that's logical because we're dealing with language. But it seems to me these days, young people particularly are communicating through image. Through digital tools and so on, and websites and social media. And it seems to me that a lot of the images in our course materials, published materials or even online materials, are very unengaging and in comparison with the kind of images that the learners themselves are using outside the classroom. So the idea was to get the teachers to kind of rethink the role of images. And particularly bearing in mind the digital age and how we can communicate through image, whether it's then in Twitter or Facebook or an application on your smartphone or whatever. And so what I tried to explain was a number of things. I said a new role for images, getting students to actively engage with images, interpret images. This is where the idea of visual literacy comes in, the idea of decoding images. Interpreting and creating their own images rather than passively describing them. And then going through different criteria for selecting images. What kind of images would resonate with students, engage students. And then looking at different tools that we can use and evaluating those tools and whether the technology enhances the task or not. And so I went through a number of different we explored a number of different tools, and I went through a number of tasks. And I said, this task, doing it with or without the technology, what's the difference? Does the technology enhance? In the case of maybe thinking of images, creating a digital poster, for example, what's the difference between a digital poster with audio, video, and a traditional poster where you cut the images out with sellotape and stick them on? And I think that's the question we have to ask ourselves. With images and with all other tasks, in a sense, is to think of the activity first and whether the technology is enhancing or not. If it's not enhancing, I think why bother?